200 years ago, when the Negro slave trade was flourishing between West Africa and the New World, a number of the more rebellious slaves escaped from their white masters into the dense jungles of Dutch Guiana. There they lived in comparative safety and followed a code of living that is still practiced by their descendants, who are known today as Jukas, the bush Negroes of Dutch Guiana. The approach to this unique land of the Jukas is by way of a treacherous river which rises and falls in accordance with the whimsical rainfall of the tropics and penetrates the darkest recesses of the jungle. The long, hard journey is made by dragging canoes through roaring rapids and over gigantic rocks which occur at frequent intervals along the way.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Foca TV, and we are bringing you live interview from the Embassy of Suriname here in Accra, Ghana. I have the honor to interview the Ambassador of Suriname to Ghana and Kenya this afternoon on this particular channel. And my name is Franco Suko Jesiama. I have my team of able producers here, Devlin Jackson, who is the DOP, and also 2K and Sewako too are helping with production. We are going for a quick commercial break. When I come back, I'm going to interview the ambassador. Stay tuned. Welcome back from that quick break. I have the honor to interview Her Excellency Fidelia Graand-Galon, the Suriname ambassador to Ghana and Kenya, here with me. Welcome, Mommy.
Thank you, Foca TV. Thank you very much. Happy to be in your program again.
I'm also honored to have you for the second time to interview you too.
Well, the thing is, like, you see, the media is very important to us, since we can only be at one place at the same time. But the media make you be at different places at the same time. So the media is very important. So it's my honor as well.
Okay. First of all, before we start the conversation, on behalf of Foca TV, Ministry of the Future, Dr. Malana, and all the stakeholders, we thank you very much for your involvement in the just ended town hall meeting. And I'm speaking from the journalistic point of view, and as a Ghanaian, most of the people that attended the program were very surprised about so many information being revealed about Suriname. They didn't know that there were so many similarities between Suriname and Ghana. So we thank you for being part of the town hall meeting and the conference.
But I think it is no Suriname time, by God ordained time. We knew about Africa because of our ancestry and because of the transatlantic slave trade. And we never forgot about Africa because whatever we do, we refer to Africa. Not only the name Ghana comes up, but other African countries come up as well. But when you travel to Africa, one of the first country you go to is Ghana. So I don't say I didn't know Ghana. I knew Ghana. But we cannot say, oh, is a pity Ghana don't know us. It's not a pity. That is also colonialism and history. When they took our ancestors, no one told them the name of the countries they would take them to. And they didn't know where they were going to until they were there at a place after 3 months on a ship in the ocean with a lot of troubles, sicknesses, and a lot of stuff that we even don't know, because the ancestors that experienced those journeys are not alive anymore for hundreds of years. So it was hearsay. Some things we say are true, some things are not. The only thing that we are sure of, and that even Suriname is discovering, are the words that has been preserved for hundreds of years in that country called Suriname. It's amazing to me. Even the languages we speak, the African-based languages that are being spoken in Suriname up until today. Let me say it. In one interview, I said Suriname is a colony of the Netherlands. But let me say Suriname was. And someone of Suriname was like, Ambassador, Suriname was. So I want to say, you see, when you are excited to tell about Suriname, yes, it was a colony. It is not a colony no more. So I hope every Surinamese person that listens to this, yes, if Suriname was not independent, I could not represent Suriname as an independent nation. So because of the ex-colony status, that's why I'm ambassador here in Africa right now.
Talking about the food that was served on the day of the town hall meeting, most Ghanaians were surprised because the food that was served, that was classified as a Surinamese food, was very common to our Ghanaian foods here.
Well, it's Ghanaian food. It's Africa food that has been preserved in Suriname for hundreds of years. Yes, we don't live at the same continent, but the Africans there continue to live as if they are in the continent of Africa. And they never stop calling themselves African. Whenever they speak, they refer to themselves as African. They don't refer to a specific country, but they say, I am African. We don't say African. Some say African, you will hear the R, but for the tribal, the nations that they built, there are 6 nations with 6 kings, as we say it in those traditional communities. The 6 even has the title refers to Ga, a nation in Ghana, Gamanche, and we say Gamang. So the food is the same. And what we say is that, and what we know scientifically, the green belt that runs from the southern part of Africa, Ghana, runs through the Guyanas, and we are one of the Guyanas, the Dutch-speaking Guyana, which is Suriname, but we don't call ourselves Dutch Guyana. We call ourselves Suriname. That is the name from the beginning, right? And our food, we have more than what has been served at that day of the town hall meeting. So I'm talking to people in Suriname, women of the traditional nations in Suriname. They want to come and have a food fest in Ghana, working together with Ghana to see, hey, look, what is the food you have and how did I preserve it? Well, the way of preparation basically is still the same, like the banku. The way people do the banku with this wooden spoon, the big one, and the iron pot, they still do it that way. And even the way you do wood fire to cook, like in Ghana, they put 3 stones. We use that as well. I grew up with it in the village. So some traditions never go. And as I spoke in a church the other day, there is a song of Boniam, by the rivers of Babylon. There we sit and we remember Zion. The Zion for the Africans in Suriname is Africa. And they never forgot about Zion, which is the Africa, their Zion. And they still have Africa. I can show you a lot of stuff. When I came to Ghana and when I watch African movies, you see ourselves in the villages of the different nations, the different kingdoms in Suriname, that they are still there. So I was the one that was surprised, like, hey, this is all food. And it's in Ghana, so it's then confirmation that our ancestors always remembered their Zion.
Away from that, you are the ambassador of Suriname to Ghana and Kenya.
And Kenya.
Yes, yeah. And how do you feel combining these two tasks?
Well, I just started my Kenyan journey just this month of December, which I think, because Africa is united in the African Union, so African people are African people. So when you say combine, it's like if I was accredited to Europe, then it is combining. But when we go the African way, is Africa. Because when I went in Kenya, the first person that came to the airport to pick me up, a protocol officer, when I asked her, what is your last name? She said, Maina. And I was, your people are kidding me. Because Maina is the name of one of my in-laws. And then I went and we spoke to the directors in the office of the president or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And one of them came to me and introduced himself as his last name is Cairo. And I was like, but this is a Surinamese name. We have plantation enslaved Africans. There's a whole family. When you hear Cairo, it is Surinamese name, African Surinamese name. And I discovered it in Kenya. Come on, who are we? We are Africans.
Wow. You are one of the hardworking ambassadors that we have in Ghana now, according to my personal research and statistics. And the reason why we credit you with that is because you engage most of the youth. And on record, what I have here is recently you were part of the Modern Gospel Award as a guest speaker. And also you were invited to be part of University of Ghana, the activities. You also traveled to Eastern Region. And all these programs are mostly youth-oriented programs. And you've opened your doors widely open for the Ghanaian youth. What is the motivation?
Because I was youth once. Years ago, I was a youth. And when I was younger, and working as an official in one of the ministries of Planning and Development Corporation, working with embassies, to me it was like, wow, I'm working with an embassy for the development of we, the youths, right? And also the elderly, the most senior officials were telling me, oh, you have to take up this, you have to do this, you have to do that. And being a youth and being involved, because the youth involved me in my younger years. So when I graduated from the university, I was a young lecturer. The youth of the university, they were adamant on having me talking about youth, telling them about traditions, telling them about what we have and what they should do. And they made me aware of a lot. I learned from the youth as well. Don't underestimate the youth. Their world is different than the world that we are in. It looks alike, but it's like a circle that is going upwards. You are in a circle that is going upwards, and the youth circle, it starts there where I stop. And I need to learn from them, and they need to engage in the world where I was a youth. And when I am a grown up, how do we engage 50-50 to have something doing? Because when you speak of sustainable development, who will sustain the development that we start? The youth. So you cannot speak of sustainable development and sustainable engagement without the youth, because they are the presidents of tomorrow, and they will take care of you as a senior citizen. So the youth is very instrumental in the sense of holistic approach and in the sense of making friends. When the youth are friends of one another, you know more international youth than me. In my time, we didn't know. We were writing letters. We didn't have WhatsApp. We didn't have YouTube. It was writing letters, and it will take time before the message reach, even within the country. So your time is a different time, is a different experience, and we need to understand this world as well of technology and everything. Thank you.
So, based on what you've been doing here in Ghana, involving the youth in your activities, averagely, 1 out of 3 or 5 Ghanaian youth have not heard about Suriname, and they have a little knowledge about Suriname. If you want any youth to mention about 5 South American countries, definitely after mentioning Brazil and the rest, Suriname will be one of them. Do you think it's because of your involvement with the youth in most of the programs? They invite you for the programs and you make sure you honor that program. Is it because of that? That is why most of the youth have Suriname now in their memory.
Well, they have to confirm that. I don't know. I just, because you see, my background is that I'm a lecturer as well. I'm a sociologist by profession. So, and I've worked with a lot of young people, and I've seen them, worked with them as a lecturer at the prep year of the university, teaching them ideologies that impact life, countries, and impact life. So, and some of those young people are now ministers, members of parliament, CEO. You know, it makes you proud. So if I can do anything to give them information, for them to have more knowledge about the experiences that I have, I really want to share, because it always surprises me, even in my country, when people say, oh, you know that person, CEO of that company, he was your student. And they know me and I don't know them anymore because it's years ago. But you will still know the impact of a lecturer in your life. So I'm proud of youths to acquire knowledge. If I can lend a hand, I always want to lend a hand, and I don't mind to go to universities and share information. Even maybe I should not even be the keynote speaker. They should come with all their questions that they want to know about my country and about my experiences. I want to share, because sharing is caring. And when you care, you will receive the goodness of people there. You don't have to give me money. They don't have to give me gifts. My gift is when they acquire and achieve a level in life where they can make life better. So we can go into a new world, especially the African youths. They can be exemplar to the youth of the African descendants outside of the continent of Africa. Because as the song say, by the river of Babylon, there we stand and remember Zion. And they are seeing the ancestors that when they never forgot to give the knowledge and the information about their motherland, Africa.
Talking about the youth, do you have any special exchange program for the Ghanaian youth and the Surinamese youth?
What I think of that will help us a lot is of youth of the universities to have an exchange program with the youth of my university or institutions in Suriname. They can Google Surinamese institutions and find their way. It doesn't have to be me guiding them. It's to find your other youth partners, because there are a lot of youth in Suriname asking me how to be. I know a mother texts me saying, my daughter wants to do a study in Africa. Do you have scholarship? But the embassy doesn't have scholarship. The only thing is to connect the dots with Africa. There are scholarships programs out there, and if there are companies in Ghana that want their youth to know about the diasporans, especially the traditional nations, there are 6 of Suriname, and the non-traditional that where they have the experiences of enslavement on the plantation and how they survived. The plantations are still there. They have their names, you know, and even in our capital city, Paramaribo, they had a piece of land for those who paid for their freedom and buy themselves free. So they paid the slave master. They could earn a little bit of money, and then they will keep it there to pay for their own freedom. And we even have a street there. We call it Free Mangrong, right? The estate of the free people. Free man's estate. So when you say Grong, is an estate. So they have select that estate for those who can be free and still live close to the capital city. So, and we even have a street there, Afi Yaba Street. It is there in Free Mangrove. So when they are free, when they live in freedom, they go back to their African names. So that is why I am still surprised. Even the Gamanche last name, his private name, when I was doing my research on him, his last name comes from, I have a friend with the same last name, a tribal person, a traditional young man. He's a lecturer at a university, and his name is Abia. I didn't know that they had Abia in Ghana. So when I read through, and because it's only his title, you know, Gamanche, and they say it, but the private name, his name given by his parents, Abia, is a Surinamese name.
Let's talk about some of the awards and citations you've won here in Ghana. You've been in Ghana for 2 years now. Yes, and you've been honored by so many entities, including the recent one, ICAD Global Award on Leadership.
Yes.
How do you feel about this award?
I'm only thankful to God. You know, how I feel about it is the recognition of things that you do, and it feels like, okay, this is my job. I'm an ambassador, I need to represent. And the impact it has to organization that you go through. And I even recently, I think it was last Friday, in December month. Yes, but then I got an award again of the executive, like Ghana most influential. I did not know that I belonged. I went there to give Ghanaians and then encourage them to be influential. I didn't know that I was among them. So it's only by His grace. And I want to thank the organizations in Ghana for acknowledging me, the citation. When I counted, I'm like, oh my God, is it that? So you're surprised because that is what I'm doing in my country. You go and do and speak in schools and go to the radio. I have radio programs that I'm doing, but you don't get citations of or award. But I believe Ghana as well have influenced Suriname. This year, even in Suriname, I got an iconic award of a very large and big influential African Surinamese organization called NAX, the African Surinamese people of Suriname. They exist over 60 years. Since I was small, I know them. And they awarded me a space on the calendar of 2024. I was surprised. And I'm like, look at me. You understand? But I want to thank every African person, whether you're in Suriname or you're in Africa, Ghana, what is my first step in Africa, and the other African nations. If I impact you, know it is your contribution that make me impact you. Because if you don't open up to me, you won't have any impact on anything I say. You open it, and I want to thank the youth as well. The United Nations organizations, I want to thank them. The universities, I want to thank them for opening up. Because if the youth open up, you have the world.
Wow. Talking about the awards that you've won, one of the hardworking ambassadors, one of your responsibility is to sell and promote your country as an ambassador. But it seems for you, you do it tirelessly and you do it with so much enthusiasm. Anywhere you be called, anytime, even if it is about getting about 5 or 3 minutes, you use the opportunity to sell Suriname. You make sure you give us something to tune on, to go on the internet to look out for Suriname and other things. Is it something you've been doing all this while, or when you came to Ghana, you realize how the youth are involved? That's why you've gotten that kind of energy.
Well, my inspiration started about 10 years ago when I became Suriname ambassador in Trinidad and Tobago, and discovered that even Trinidad and Tobago is only 1 hour and a half away from Suriname. And then I discovered that they didn't know about Suriname. Yes. Whenever I would go to an activity, some young people would come to me and say, oh, are you the wife of the Nigerian ambassador? I say, no. Maybe I am a Nigerian, but I was born in Suriname. My first even media people, I had my Surinamese traditional attire. And a media man came to me. It was the state presentation of the president of that country, the prime minister of Trinidad, in parliament. And we were invited as ambassador. I was newly appointed, and I went. So, and I was in the traditional wear of the tribal community of Suriname. And then a journalist came to me and say, oh, Madam, are you from Malawi? And we are 1 hour and a half away from Trinidad and Tobago. It's the same Caribbean Sea, it's the same Atlantic Ocean. Both of us have enslavement history. And they didn't know that there were, why is that? What happened, what I discovered is that when people would talk about the traditional people, the nations that have been founded in Suriname by Africans that were enslaved. They didn't call them maroon. It has nothing to do with Africa, because the name in the books is Bush Negro. So when you see Bush Negro can be everywhere because it's the name that they created. And or Bushland Creole. What does it have to do with Africa? Nothing. So I knew even a professor of a University of Trinidad and Tobago told me, you're not a maroon, you're a Bush Negro. Jamaicans are maroons. And I was like, okay, tell me. And he says, you know who maroons are? These were fearless Africans that freed themselves from slavery. But you people in Suriname don't have maroons. You have Bush Negroes. But what he's telling me is the history of the maroon community in Suriname. But for me, as a diplomat, he say I'm ignorant, so I shut my mouth. And there is where I got the inspiration. When I came in Africa, the other side happened. They think I'm Ghanaian.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is a excitement again to say, okay, this is confirmation that my ancestors came from this continent, because I look like everyone here in Africa. So we never change, and we always remember Zion. That is one of the, to say that Africans, we are aware of the diasporans, but look at me, we are still the same, and we never forgot about Africa. We always call ourselves Afrikaan. And if I in an interview, I said it too, Kang Kang Afrikaan. And someone in the comments say, oh, Kang Kang means pure. I don't know which language group it is, but that is how we refer to ourselves, Kang Kang Afrikaan, in the traditional communities of Suriname that has been formed in 6 main rivers and other, I think, 3 other rivers of Suriname. You will find the villages of those traditional communities, African traditional communities with new tribal names and new languages, 7 different languages, and Suriname is very small.
So let's move away. You've been in Ghana for about 2 years. How have your experience been with Ghanaians generally?
Generally, very good, but the bad ones, they come closer. The good ones remain there and say, oh, what a good experience. But there are some bad ones. But I don't want to say what it is, but I want to tell Ghanaians, even if I look like you, treat each other in a respectful way. Whenever you sell something, don't let it be chobo money. Let it be good money. Whatever you do, because you don't know how you promote Ghana well. Don't say, oh, we Ghanaians are good. And when you see an individual looking like you promote Ghana the bad way. Not only Ghana, Africans. Let us promote at any time when we are in our own space. Let us treat one another sincere and let us be good. Because when you see these people, I always tell them, before I came to Ghana, I heard a lot of good things about Ghana. And 26 years ago, I was here. I think I said it before, as a scientist for the Panafest. And I'm registered in one of the mayor's houses in Cape Coast. I don't know where anymore. I don't know which mayor office, but I know it's in Cape Coast. And I got a name, I'm registered, and they say I'm a citizen as well if I use that name. But when you leave and when you see Ghanaians, the experience for some of them, it's very tricky. Let us leave that path. Let us be a true Ghanaian, a true African, as the great builders of the African nations and the African people in the continent, on the continent, outside of the continent. Let us be sincere. That is what I want. Yes, I have some experiences that I would not like to have, but there are very good experiences like yourself. Foka TV, thank you. Moga Award, Pastor, what's his name? Bishop Aban, Archbishop Duncan Williams, I know these good people, Bishop Asendo, Isando, I always pronounce his name. So there are a lot of good people out here doing good things. Let us keep it up.
Wow. It's hard time, Ghana. We need to put our attitude on a check for our brothers and sisters who are here coming home with much happiness. Mommy, I know you are an ordained woman of God.
Yes.
So how are you combining these two roles? Because the last interview I had with you, you have a gospel program, radio program,
Yes.
that you've been doing for so many years.
Yes.
So how are you combining this diplomatic role and also the ministry of God?
Diplomacy is in God. Diplomacy started in the Bible. When you read the New Testament, not even the New Testament, in the Old Testament, Abraham, what was he doing? It was diplomacy. He went to a foreign land, and it was diplomacy. They even took his wife, Sarah, and he said, oh, okay, it's my sister. And then he got his wife back. If you want to know diplomacy, live the good life and represent. Know the message you are up to. Bring the message at a respectful way. And don't want to become anyone else. Be yourself and know your mission. And if we want to know our mission, we know all the prophets in the Bible, their mission. We know Isaiah. We know Daniel. We know Elijah. They did not stay in their own community. They were going around. Moses, right? Right? So the thing is that diplomacy, if you know what the message is, your mission is, and you want to execute it, and you know the basics of what God gives to you as humanity is to share and to care and to give without expecting to get back, because your provider is God. You don't hustle for what you will get back. Let us stop the hustle. Money. There is a song, I will present you a Surinamese CD, and that CD is about Suriname. A lady was involved in the Ghana University. She came and she left a CD. And I will give you that CD so that Foka TV can put it on and you can say, hey, this is Suriname, even if you don't understand. One of the song is like mixed traditional song. The lady say she took that song. The song is Lamba 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 Ye. And she took that song from one of the nations in the east, the Okanisi. Okanse is one of the names of the nations of the east. She went to the palace of the king, who we call Gamang, and she heard that song, and she made it in her own genre, and it is very nice. But when you know the story behind that word, Lamba Lamba, I don't want to tell the youth. It's a very nice experience, but off the camera, I will tell you what it is. And for youth to take good care of themselves. And when I heard the meaning of that song, I was like, wow, I even did not know. And you know who told me the meaning of that song? No. A young man.
Wow.
Yes, about 20 years younger than me. He knew the song. I asked him because I'm not afraid to ask. You understand? So let us keep it up and let us do what we need to do. Diplomacy, the basis, and even the tradition in diplomacy. I read about the background of the Vienna Protocol, where ambassadors have to live. A scientist who was a social scientist who was an ambassador for years. He wrote the book, and I read the book he wrote about diplomacy, the origin. You know where it came from? The protocols of the traditional leaders in Africa. So if you want to know about protocol and diplomacy, please go to the office of the Gamanche, the Asante Hene, the Togbis, I don't know, all the names you have here for traditional leaders, and your grandmother, your aunties, the chiefs, as they call them chief, but we have their own African name and title, right? Yes. Go to them and you will know how I am able to combine diplomacy and my life as a ordained pastor.
You have 2 years more to go as an ambassador in Ghana, and next year is going to be one of the powerful years for everyone. Do you have any agenda for the youth? And also, do you have any personal agenda with the embassy of trying to promote Suriname in a different way?
I don't have an agenda. I want the youth. You see, when you start coming with your agenda, it's not real anymore for the youth. The youth have their agenda, and I'm opening myself to come and see how we can have it together with the youth of Suriname to have an impact in the youth, and not only the youth, especially the universities. I really want to engage in the school, not only the elementary schools as well, all level of education. I don't mind. We want to have, the only thing in my agenda is the exchange and the UN program that give us the opportunity for programs that they can make the exchange possible.
There is one Ghanaian youth who is a digital marketer, and he has a personal plan of, he's also a prophet by calling. He has the dream of impacting about 5 million African youth with digital marketing. He's teaching them for free. And it's a question I'm trying to ask, whether it could be a good opportunity for the youth in Suriname to also have this kind of opportunity.
It is a great opportunity for the youth of Suriname because, you know, Suriname youth, what we know in the history and right now is about the European countries and the United States of America. Africa comes in with movies where they know almost all the movie stars. I've tried to bring some movie stars this year, but you know, some people need to know where to go. You don't want to force them to come. I've informed some of them. I've given some information, but what I want to say, the Embassy of Suriname is an embassy where there are no funds to fund your expenses to the country and within the country. The only thing I have is I have to share is the information and to inform you about this. But the technology is very important for the youth of Suriname to come closer to the youth. So if there are 5 million youth in Africa, is a small portion. So let be like maybe 1% of the 5 million be the Surinamese youth as well. We're not asking. Let him focus on the Surinamese youth. He doesn't need me, he needs you.
Sure.
He needs the youth to connect with the youth. I'm an old lady now.
Yes, sir. Okay, finally, we've ended our conversation with the ambassador, but we are in the Christmas season. And we would love you to take this opportunity to tell the Ghanaian youth you made mention of some of the good nuts in Ghana here that you would love to extend your seasonal greetings to. You can say the message across the opportunities there.
Thank you. I would like to say thank you, Ghana, and I want to congratulate you that you have been able to win the hearts, especially of young people of Suriname. And I want to thank a special Ghanaian that I've never met. He was introduced to me by my PA, a young Ghanaian man. Congratulations, Mr. Wode Maya. He went to Suriname, and I thank you for being the ambassador for Suriname to Africa. So he's done the ambassador's job. And I want to thank all the chiefs and the youth and anyone that has been impacting Ghana sustainable development, to make life better. I want to thank you, the government of Ghana. I want to thank you, your president, President Akufo-Addo, Nana Akufo-Addo. I hope I do well. And all the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and everyone and my colleagues in Ghana, and now I have new colleagues in Kenya as well. I want to thank you all for impacting our countries and the diasporans, and to impact the youth, especially to the youth. Merry Christmas. Merry means you need to be happy. Start happiness now, and it will endure for the longest while. Don't hesitate to go and ask for wisdom to elders, and also engage to other youths with a special talent. Your talent is yours, and share your talent, and you will gain more. That is what the Bible says. You will be given more if you give. Give and receive. Mi want taigide Suriname. This is the lingua franca of Suriname. If you know this language, no matter where you go in Suriname, everybody will understand its language. It's a Dutch-speaking nation, but the language everybody speaks is based on the African language. We call it Surinamese or Sranang-Tongo. Sranang-Tongo, Bradangasa, mi wan baru wan sweet odi, en me winsu wan sweetie Christneti, nanga wan bung New Yari, meki gado de nanga Sranang, en gado de nanga Ghana, ini Afrika, en ook ta grantangi, me gado de nanga foka, te fe ook toe. God bless you. God bless you.
Wow, powerful. Grand Time, Excellency, President.
Grantangi is the lingua franca of thank you very much.
Okay.
So wherever you go in Suriname, you say Grantangi, that is to thank you. Medase pa.
Yes, okay, so Grand Time, Excellency, for your time. Okay, so you promised to, yes, yeah.
Thank you. We say thank you to Ghana, and we say thank you to Suriname. This is a star called Malena Wal from Suriname, living in Europe, but never lost the Surinamese vibe and the language, and still performing wherever she goes. It is Suriname she represents, and we love it. She was here in Ghana, and then this CD came out of all the songs that she made throughout the years, and I'm saying like 50 years of experience. You will hear her voice, and I think Foka TV will play her music, and she was interviewed by you when she came. So let us hear her voice, and I would say Lamba 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 yeah, and Soso Lobi, meaning pure love. Soso Lobi, when you go to Suriname, when you end a WhatsApp message, just say Soso Lobi, meaning I love you, and it is pure for Suriname and for Ghana. Soso Lobi.
Soso Lobi for Suriname and Ghana. Thank you very much. Wow, this is where we end the conversation and interview today. It was a very powerful one. On behalf of the whole crew, we say a very big thank you to the ambassador and also the embassy for accommodating us. My name is Franco Uswesiama, Devlin Jackson, 2K, and the rest of the team were here with us. Thank you for watching.